Okay, so my PPT is visible to you, Viru. Please confirm
Uh,
it.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible, and the cursor is visible as well.
Okay, so welcome to all of you, and thank you very much for inviting me. Today, I'm going to talk about some of the uh, current ongoing research activities worldwide in geophysics, especially. Many people, along with here in IIT Bombay or in India also, many people try to integrate this multi-physics data through in cooperative or in joint inversion framework. So here, I would like to introduce some of the machine learning algorithms, which is very helpful for those who wanted to pursue some research or in also in the industry experience. So this machine learning is a very wonderful tool to uh, what you say integrate these two geophysical data set, two or three, any kind of and how we are going to improve our subsurface imaging technique, we will discuss in couple of slides. Okay, so I have divided some of the uh, uh, talk in some of the brief motivation of this kind of a research, why it is important for doing this kind of a research. And then, since whole basis of uh, this integration of multi-physics data is geophysical inverse theory, so I'll briefly discuss what is a geophysical inverse theory and what is the problem associated with geophysical inversion, and how we can overcome these problems through some of the research and development. So there will be three main uh, uh, topic which I'll try to cover within research and development, which will try to integrate our multi-physics data. So use of machine learning algorithms, and one case study I'll discuss the integration of you can say petrophysical data, especially it is a well log data uh, uh, to improve resistivity distribution. And third will be how we can use again this petrophysical data using machine learning algorithm in joint inversion, and how these are going to improve our distribution. So these things we'll try to discuss. Associated problem will also. So as we see that the motivation of any researcher uh, is to understand any kind of geological problem. So here what I wanted to introduce here, that when I was doing master from IIT Kharagpur, then Professor Oldenburg has emphasizes. Professor Oldenburg is basically father in geophysical inverse theory. So he introduced that there should be only seven-step framework to understand any kind of a geophysical behavior. For those who are not in geophysics, they see our Mother Earth like this. They will see road, they will see hill area. But as a geologist, we always understand our Mother Earth in terms of geological distribution. So you should understand first the geology of the study region, and then once you got the geology, then you should understand that which kind of a particular method will be beneficial to use here. For example, there are many flavors of that: gravity, magnetic, electrical, EM, seismic, well log. So in all those most popular methods, which one should we choose based on their physical properties? So always try to figure out that which method will be essential to utilize this uh, uh, in particular geological setup. Once you got that, okay, that physical particular physical property is essential for us to demarcate between these two geological distribution, then you try to decide, okay, I'll try to perform suppose magnetic data to conduct my survey. So now since you decided the magnetic data, then you go for magnetic data, you collect the magnetic data over the study region, then you will come to the lab, then you will see your data set. So your data set will look like something this, or any kind of a particular distribution of your data set. Now here comes one important topic. From data to obtain any kind of a physical distribution, any type, whether it is a resistivity distribution, whether it is a velocity distribution, or whether it is a density distribution, you will need a mathematical framework we call inverse theory. So you will need geophysical inverse theory knowledge to obtain from data to this kind of a particular model. Once you got this kind of a model, then you have to convert this model into a geological model, which geologist will understand. Uh, Geophysicists only understand this particular model called resistivity distribution, whether it is velocity. They understand in terms of physical property, but geologists understand their model in terms of rock distribution. So you need to convert this into geologic model. So we call this geologic model as a separate framework. We call this as an interpretation of this particular data. And then you further you did a synthesis of your work, whether you are reaching towards your goal, whether it is a mineral exploration, whether it is oil industry or whatnot. So these are the very general framework to understand any geological framework. So this should keep in mind. And here your from step 4 to go to the step 5, we required geophysical inversion. So I'll briefly introduce what is geophysical inversion to you. So before going to geophysical inversion, uh, I here in IIT Bombay usually work on forward modeling and inversion aspect of many data sets. So I usually cover electrical resistivity, induced polarization, cell potential data, and electromagnetic methods, electromagnetic shallower techniques, these techniques, and I also try to study some of the gravity and magnetic data. So I am uh, these are my expertise where I try to utilize this concept of geophysical inverse theory. And my main focus here in IIT Bombay is basically I try to develop some of the forward modeling and inversion algorithms. So here while developing, I came to know a wonderful technique called machine learning algorithm. So just to give you the brief analogy of what is forward modeling and inverse modeling is, forward modeling is if you take any kind of theoretical model, whether you are able to generate any kind of a data, we call this approach as a forward modeling. You need one particular physics behind that to obtain from certain model to obtain a certain kind of a data. And now in inverse modeling, we have a data set. From the data set, obtaining this kind of a model we call inverse modeling. So to perform inverse modeling, we also need particular forward modeling. So inverse modeling is also required this kind of forward modeling. So before going, what is inverse modeling or what is inversion? Uh, these are some of the very fundamental mathematical framework of your inverse modeling, where you will have this particular FM matrix you are seeing as, we call this matrix as a theoretical computation of particular data set. The observe is basically you are computing these from the field, and these are the model regularization matrix. Model regularization matrix comes from the logic behind to compute this model regularization matrix is that sometimes we have a very smooth matrices, right? Smooth subsurface distribution. Sometimes what we have very sharp distribution. For example, a fault kind of a structure will have a very sharp changes into that. So to introduce this kind of a sharp changes, you need to formulate your model regularization accordingly. So there are many form of model regularization, but you will need that to balance between data misfit and model regularization. You will need one term called Lagrange parameter or Marquardt parameter. Please try to balance that one. And a beauty of this Lagrange parameter is that if you try to minimize the data misfit between these two, then you will try to you will get a very smooth variation in your model. If you try to get very smooth, very sharp changes, then you will get less number of data misfit. So you will try to balance with these two component from a certain point of time. So this is a typical objective function which we try to minimize. But before going to that, we have this phi m matrix. So take those who do not know what how to perform inverse theory, so just basically it is a computation of a minima of a certain function. So you in 12th standard you have already know that you are aware that how to compute minima of a certain function. So to compute the minima, you have to derive, you have to compute the derivative over del f, and then you equate with the zero, and then you get certain equation. So you'll get typical this kind of a equation. This equation we call update equation. This update equation will depend on your uh, objective function, which kind of objective function you are going to minimize. We have something terminology which is there. This S is basically a Jacobian matrix which you need to compute here. And in inverse theory, what we do, we try to fit the observed data with your computed data. Observed data means you will compute in the field, and FM is your theoretical response computation, which will try to fit field data with your computational model. And while fitting this, you will always try to compute root mean square with iteration wise, and we try to see how root mean square is going to behave into that. So typical root mean square value, if you wanted to see, you can see like this. So this is a data misfit function. The same first term, whatever you are seeing here, I have just plotted over here with number of iteration. So whenever you will see typical curve of inversion which is trying to come to that one. So this is the one way you will obtain a model of that one. So this is the general framework. There are plenty of algorithm available worldwide that can perform inversion. You go and you just search on that any particular algorithm, you will see that one. But what is the problem behind this? Whenever you will perform this inversion, what kind of a problem you will face when you will perform inversion? So first problem which I am going to introduce here is that worldwide, if you see that there are many algorithms, you search any algorithm, you will get that are available. Now this is suppose a particular true model I am taking just to show you the example, and this same model I'm trying to invert and try to get the data from that. If you invert it, it will look like that. So here you can see that there are two particular distribution here there. One is 100 ohm meter, which is I have represented with the histogram diagram with that, and second is this body, which is a 10 ohm meter. In the histogram you can see over this cursor. Now important thing over here is that if you invert this particular model, in inverted model you will see this distribution, whole distribution. This 2 is also distributed over this kind of a distribution. It is a typical Gaussian distribution you can see over here, and it is ranging from here to here. So in that particular model, all the physical property value is there. This is the typical example of resistivity model. But if you do the velocity, whether you do for density or whether you do for susceptibility, all the things will face similar. So what will happen with that? Recovered resistivity value usually will become lower or higher. Since it is 2, so you can see that it is extending from 2. It is going beyond 2. Means if you take 100 ohm meter resistivity distribution, your geological distribution go much more than 100, or also lower value of this one. What will happen with that? Uh, if I'll not show this image, if I'll not show to you, if I'll ask to you that, you may interpret, okay, there are 3 geological feature over there. One is typical blue color, one is that is small reddish color, and one is the green color is that. But here we have only 2 distribution only there. One is this distribution and second is this. So this is the consequence of inversion, not the model. This kind of a problem will always associated with the inversion, and that creates also one problem. We call this as a boundary related problem, because here you can see that in this true model and in homogeneous distribution, this boundary is very sharp. You can clearly, in naked eyes, you can identify, okay, this is the boundary of between this geological unit and this geological unit. But here, if I'll ask what is the boundary, you will be confused whether it is a this might be boundary, whether this is boundary, whether this is the boundary, whether red color is demarcated with the green. So number of geologic unit is not clear to you. Number of uh, what you say boundaries is also not clear. So here I'm going to use one machine learning algorithm which is try to improve this particular distribution. Now, second problem which I have told you that you have plenty of data set. For example, you have empty data, VLF data, DC data, or gravity data, magnetic data. You can take any data set. So you can obtain using inversion this density model. You can interpret resistivity model. You can obtain velocity model depending upon the problem. So using inverse modeling, you can obtain this distribution. But a geologist will never understand this kind of a distribution. They understand only in terms of rock distribution, right? Go to your any professor in the department of geology. They will talk about only the rocks. They will not talk about resistivity distribution or density distribution. So you need to further inform. You provide one interpretation based on your model to this. So we call from this step to this step. We call interpretation. But here, what I am trying to do over machine learning is that from this particular data set, I'm trying to predict this particular Earth model also. These two, apart from this resistivity model, I'm also trying to compute this Earth model. So how to compute and how machine learning is going to help you, we'll see in a couple of slides. Now, before going to machine learning algorithms, there are many machine algorithms tool which are freely available over worldwide, like linear regression. Linear regression is basically uh, uh, inversion. Whatever you are doing is also a machine learning algorithm. Decision tree matrix, which you some of you might be using. Fuzzy C-means clustering, this support vector mass, random forest. So there are many ways, many algorithm. Some of even I do not know how people have used, but these are the some typical machine learning algorithms which people have tried to utilize these things. But here, what we'll try to do that we'll try to use one of the machine learning algorithm called fuzzy C-means clustering algorithm, and second one is kernel density estimation. We'll try to use this also one of the machine learning. So these two I have used here in IDB, and you can some of the results I'll show over here, but there are different flavor. So I'll show it to you that how machine learning, what is first of all machine learning and how it can be utilized. So here there are many flavors. You have to learn all these differently, but before learning to these, you have to see the application of each machine learning algorithm. So here I have used only two machine learning algorithms. One is called fuzzy C-means clustering algorithm. Second is kernel density estimation. So these two I have used. I'll try to show that what is this kind of a machine learning and how to use that. So machine learning is basically this typical minimization function, which is very much aware of that, because in the last couple of slides I have used that. Here you have a data objective function, so we call this data misfit. This is the regularization matrix, and this lambda is controlling your these two. So this is the typical geophysical inversion. This is the mathematical basis of what you say machine learning algorithm. What machine learning will do, it will take this model M from your inversion. Suppose you are at ith iteration of inversion step, so it will take M model at ith inversion, and what it will try to do, this is the typical objective function which is trying to minimize that using fuzzy C-means clustering. I will call this information as a additional information, because here if whatever the model distribution is, whether it is a resistivity, so resistivity distribution you will provide to the machine learning. What machine learning will give you as a output, it will provide you two things, mu ik. So mu ik is nothing but I am interpreting it as a a geologic separation. Geologic separation means in terms of lithology. So whatever machine learning thing you will put here distribution, it will try to compute, your machine learning will compute the lithologic distribution of that in terms of mu. So mu is nothing but for me it is a geologic distribution which I was trying to show over here. So in terms of mu, it will try to compute this distribution. So mu is nothing but this computation of this particular earth model. Okay, so this is the mu. And further how mu and this particular geologic units, there will be suppose this distribution of geologic units, so you will have the cluster center of this particular geologic unit. So we call this cluster center as a cluster center of particular lithologic unit. So based on that, you further need to update your model expression. The same expression at ith expression you need to update. So we are updating in using these two. So this is the geologic separation, and this is the cluster center, and number of cluster center. If you are aware that there are 5 geologic unit in the field, there are 4 geologic unit in the field, then you can compute your further physical property distribution. These results we have tested on many data sets, and we have already published some of the results. So this is very helpful, and these are the objective function which is coming from a machine learning tool. And this typical machine learning is known as fuzzy C-means clustering. So if you will see, just type it fuzzy C-means clustering in Google, you will get this kind of a objective function to minimize. So how will you get this expression? You have to first minimize this function over mu, and then you have to again minimize this function over u, and while minimizing this you have to treat this as a constant, and then you will get these two functions, these two computation of value, whatever the value it is coming, and then you compute. So here I'm just giving you the what you call a brief flavor of these things, how to compute that things. But let us see how we have utilized this and how it is going to help us getting the better result. Okay, so let us see that result first. Before going to go, you are aware of these things, that tomography is meaning is that inversion. Since I'm using fuzzy C-means clustering, so I name this particular algorithm, whatever I develop here, I'm naming fuzzy constraint resistivity tomography, or you can say a fuzzy constraint inversion, because inversion is a common thing which many people will use, but fuzzy constraint inversion, we are naming it because we have utilized this machine learning tool over here. So in machine learning, apart from this data set, whatever the data set, you will provide this data set, you will forward information, it will go to the this matrix, and it will, whatever the result it will provide, so inversion will provide additional information. What we are giving through machine learning is uh, what are the number of geologic unit, well log information, again we are putting through machine learning. So these are two additional information again going into our inversion framework to improve our results. So let us see how this is going to improve our results into that. Now these are the basis which I was trying to discuss, that what is the use to do this kind of what is the use of fuzzy C-means clustering. So that's why I kept in terms of objective, which I have I think already described with you that. And there are many authors who have already worked on this fuzzy C-means clustering. However, they have worked as after the inversion, post inversion step. Here what I was trying to do, along with the inversion, I'm trying to invert. So our approach is slightly different than these researchers which have already used in the past. One of the important aspect, you can see that they have all worked in 2015, 2014, 2010. So these are the relatively new way people are trying to do nowadays. After 2010, people are trying to do this kind of a research. So here what in IIT Bombay we are doing, we are trying to integrate these results to improve the data. Let us see now the result part. Now, suppose we have taken this particular distribution of typical distribution. This distribution is resistivity distribution of uh, VLF data. So this is the true resistivity distribution we are saying. And now in this, what additional information what we have? We have, there are two geologic unit. One is in blue color and second is in yellow color. Okay, if you perform traditional inversion before machine learning, then if you perform traditional inversion, you will get uh, this result. Okay, here again you can see that the uh, blue solid sorry uh, black solid line, whatever you are seeing over here is your uh, true distribution pattern. But here you can see that these boundaries is not clear over here, and if you perform, we call this unconstrained inversion result. I'm not using any machine learning tool to that. Now here, same machine learning, here we have used this machine learning approach. Two additional information is this, these two additional information is there are two geologic unit only, and mean resistivity value of this geologic unit is 500 ohm meter and 10 ohm meter. Then you are putting this information, then your result is getting much better than the previous one. So this encourages us to let down our research, and we publish this research results in one of the literature. You can see this work in this paper. If you see the typical histogram distribution, again unconstrained inversion, you'll see that variation over all the thing which is the traditional inversion which I was explaining in my earlier slides. But if you perform machine learning thing, which is additional information you'll provide, only two things you will get over here. There are some values, but they are very slightly less, which is negligible, you can say that. So this is certainly improving the result. So this result we have tested on VLF electromagnetic data set. But these results is in VLF. So now let us again check this result on some of the field data set, how it is going to improve our results. So now again, to test this machine learning thing, what we have additionally, suppose we have performed here our ERT survey. Okay, this is our ERT profile. ERT is stand for electrical resistivity tomography, or you can see DC resistivity profile. So DC resistivity profile will provide you a one DC resistivity distribution, which is along this profile we are getting this DC resistivity distribution. Now, one of the important aspect, this result is computed using RES2D RB software. I have taken this image from this Solberg et al. 2016 paper. Now, apart from this DC resistivity dataset, we have two another information over here. Two information, what is that? There is a borehole dataset over here, B1, and here we have another borehole dataset. We call this as a B2. Okay. Now, distribution of this borehole resistivity data is B2 is varying like that. B1 is varying over that. So now we wanted to utilize this whole distribution into that. One problem with that is that we can't use this variation over depth wise, right? So we have to convert this data set into parameter domain. Parameter domain means this inversion algorithm only works in parameter domain. Parameter domain means you need to have one particular cluster center value of that, which is, you can see over here, parameter. So this well log data, what we did here, we converted into parameter domain. To convert this parameter domain, I have again utilized one machine learning algorithm called kernel density estimation function. This is one of the machine learning. This is a very simple kernel density estimation. You just type KDE in MATLAB or even in Python. If you working on, then you just type kernel density estimation matrix computation. So then you can identify many of the tools. One of the important aspect is that how you are going to use this into your inversion result. So now I got this result 1 2, 3, 4 data set geologic unit into that. So this borehole information I have converted using machine learning, and now I'm going to use it into directly into the inversion framework, and let us see how it is going to improve this particular resistivity distribution. Now, to see the before the result, you just try to see these are the geologic unit: dry crushed clay, leached clay, this is unleached clay, and this is your bedrock. So here to here you try to see the geological difference of that one. Now let us see the result of machine learning uh, result. So this is the machine learning results. Now try to see the boundary. This is the borehole location of B1 is here. Borehole location 2 of B2 is here. Now you see the unleached clay, and leached clay is this color, and it is going like that. And boundary, you can try to check the boundary, how it is going to getting much better than previous result. This is the same inversion algorithm, same model, without, if you use without machine learning algorithm, then you will get this one. And I'm not doing anything, I'm just minimizing these two objective functions together. This is the objective function of geophysical inverse theory, and this is the objective function of machine learning algorithm. I'm just playing these two together to improve the results. Now you can check that in naked eye, you can check that these results is going to improve that one. Apart from the beauty of this work is that apart from this resistivity distribution of this one, you can have mu ik value, which I was saying that it will directly provide you the cluster center value. So cluster 1, cluster 2, cluster 3, cluster 4, you can have a different geologic unit. So with respect to geology, with respect to this resistivity distribution, along with that, we are also getting this geological distribution of that one. Simultaneously, it is providing. Now, one of the important point is that if you see the fitting comparison between this is the inversion algorithm, this is the inversion plus machine learning algorithm, you will see both are fitting almost similar data fitting. So we are fitting the same level of data, and we have also improved these results. So these results, we again got very encouraging results. So we published this result in Singh et al. 2017 in geophysics. So this work you can further more detail you can see in our Singh et al. 2017 paper. If you are interested, I can provide you that paper too. Now, as I have said that if you try to compare the data misfit between L1 norm and L1 norm fuzzy constraint resistivity tomography, both are reaching to the same error level. So error level is same for both. However, we are going to improve this result. So this further led us to check. We have just checked this same approach, similar approach we have checked on radio magnetotronic data. This is another data set of one of the particular geophysics. If you see that this is the 4-layer distribution of particular resistivity model. If you perform unconstrained inversion, you will get this kind of a feature. Now, one important feature is that here you can see differentiate your boundary, but here your boundaries is not much clear. Now, using the machine learning, you can again improve your boundary. Now here, if you play with little more in machine learning, you can further more sharpen your resistivity distribution. So these are some of the further extension of the work, but of course on the different data sets. So we some of the encouraging result from radio magnetotronic. I thought you should see these results too. Okay, now what important thing here you should note that this particular machine learning algorithm is only effective when you have when your inversion is able to detect these particular geologic unit. For example, here is in one empty data I have taken. This is a typical empty model of that. Because of depth, you can see that it is going much deeper information, 10 kilometer. This is a fault kind of a body which you can see in yellow color, and there are two some inhomogeneous features. I have just put it into the surface because these are the very near, so it can identify very clearly. If you perform inversion, you can see that some of the blocks is mismatched with some of the blocks. So here you can say that inversion is not try to demarcate these two colors. So this geologic unit and yellow color geologic unit, it is not able to demarcate. So based on that, this MT is also not able to demarcate. Otherwise, this boundary is almost getting better again when you use machine learning. But here one of the important keynote point you should take from here is that uh, whatever this fuzzy constraint resistivity tomography, uh, we have named just this one. It will be only effective when we whatever the measure data set, whatever the you are measuring into the field, it is sensitive to particular geologic unit. This is the note from that typical example. And one of the important note is that once you use this machine learning algorithm, you will get resistivity distribution, you will get a geologic distribution at the same time. So no post inversion step will require. So no post inversion step will require because we are getting both the thing. And boundary, of course, you can see that the boundary was become much clearer with comparison to traditional inversion approaches. So these are the some of the uh, one of the concluding remarks. You can say that when we used uh, petrophysical information into the geophysical inversion to improve this one. So remember, the petrophysical obtaining petrophysical physics is totally different, and obtaining DC resistivity data set is totally different. So there are multi-physics associated with that. So to deal with these multi-physics, you will need this kind of a machine learning algorithm to improve this one. So this is the one typical method. You can see that. Now again, some of the extension of this work, I'm going to again show to you that how it is going to uh, uh, improve when we are try to improve two different data set, and how it is going to affect that. Let us see on the other note. The basis of the second objective is this particular empty example, because inversion was not sensitive to one particular geologic unit. So we have taken two data sets there to improve our subsurface distribution, and how this subsurface distribution is going to improve our result. Let us see. So here we have taken uh, uh, problem statement. From this point, we have taken that interpretation of single geophysical data set is not sufficient to provide the complete subsurface information. And second, also one of the problem statement, you can say that the resistivity or any particular distribution of multiple geophysical data will try to improve the result. But how we should integrate these two results is important aspect of that one. The reason is simply the one reason to integrate multiple data set, multiple geophysical data, is because one particular method drawback you can overcome with the other. So let us see how it is, how this framework will work, how we can integrate these framework using machine learning. Again, I'm going to use this same machine learning fuzzy C-means clustering algorithm to provide the relation. How I'm going to provide the relation, we'll see in a couple of slides. Okay, so here's one simple objective is that we wanted to formulate our framework to invert a direct current resistivity data and also in gravity data in a single framework, and only one goal to improve our resistivity and density distribution. So one of the important difficulty with that is that how we are going to minimize our objective function. Objective function is because if you see traditionally, this is the one objective function of your DC resistivity data. Second one is the objective function of gravity data. So you can say that this is the one objective function phi DC M1. This is the second objective function, phi dc gravity. But how we will going to make a relation between gravity, because gravity will provide you density distribution and resistivity will provide you resistivity distribution, right? So how we are going to make a relation between density and gravity? There is no concrete evidence of any particular geologic unit which is going to follow these particular relations. So this relation, making this kind of a relation is very important. So to make the relation, we are going to use another term called uh, a fuzzy coupling term. And this coupling term, to make a relation, we are going to use machine learning algorithm. Here we have also used one term called beta. Beta we have used because if there will be no relation at all, suppose you have used machine learning and suppose machine learning is not able to show any kind of a positive result, so we'll just simply put beta is equal to 0. So again it will become a traditional inversion, right? And once beta will show, suppose machine learning will show some good result, a good correlation, then we'll try to use a beta as a very higher value to show the more confident in that. So this formulation we have taken from this particular paper, Shinga et al. 2019 in geophysical prospecting. You can refer more detail of this work over this paper. Now this again same objective function here, whatever objective function here you are saying m1 m2, the same machine learning algorithm I have used, the same name, you can say it fuzzy Siemens clustering algorithm. So what we are doing here, we are trying to minimize DC resistivity data, we are trying to minimize gravity data, and then we are, after minimizing at particular iteration, we are trying to make the relation between gravity and DC data in just a cross plot. There are many ways people have tried to do that. I'll try to show you to that how people are doing in different institutions. So here the coupling between this resistivity or density, or you can say resistivity and velocity. This Gallardo and Mezu is the first classical paper in JGR. They have published that in 2003. They try to make the relation between resistivity and density, or even if you follow Gallardo and Mezu 2004 paper, they try to make the relation between velocity and resistivity. So this is the one way where they are trying to compute the cross product between these two models. So they have taken resistivity model, they have taken density model, and then they did compute just a cross gradient of that. So cross gradient is just a typical curl type of computation. So like the curl of any matrix, if I'll ask to compute the similar way you try to compute this matrix, then you will get. What is the benefit of that? It will try to enforce structural discontinuity into the framework. So basis of that one. That now second approach people try to follow, that they use petrophysical relation, which is quite relatively newer technique. They in 2012 they tried to make, in 2016 they tried to make. So what they did, they used in x-axis they have plotted resistivity model, on y-axis they have plotted a density model, and they try to make particular relation between density and resistivity, and then they try to improve the results. So here what we are trying to do, to make particular relation, this is the objective function of this machine learning algorithm. What we name here is fuzzy Siemens clustering. So same function is there. You take this m is combined effect of m1 and m2. So in m we have m1, we have also m2. So this is m is basically two means you can say that its dimension is cross 2. For example, you have 1,000 model, so 1,000 cross 2 matrix will be there. In m1 will be first column will be m1, and then second column will be m2, and then you try to perform this machine. So it will try to predict that one. But before applying to this machine learning tool, we need to have one of the assumption that geologic unit in the study region we are know a priori. For example, in a study area, when you go for the field, so you can say that okay, there are whenever you are doing survey, so you should know that there are 4 geologic unit, there are 5 geologic units, and that geological information, geologists always aware of those things, so they know these things. So this particular unit, you this kind of information you require, you put it into the machine learning, you make the algorithm efficient, and then you try to integrate these two results. So let us test this integration over some synthetic data, over some field data, and how it is going to improve our result. Let us see in couple of slides. So to check on the synthetic data, we have taken a geological model over this is your geologic model. We call this as a host rock. This geological model is one, and this host rock model resistivity distribution is 100, and into that there is another model which is one body, and this is the second body. We are calling this as a target rock 1, target rock 2. Their physical property is I have already described here, 10 ohm meter, 500, and density contrast value of this model is 0. Background resistivity of this one is 0, and 0.3, 0.3 we are providing the same. And in figure B, whatever you are saying, this is the inversion working mesh of the inversion algorithm, where we'll perform a single inversion also, we'll perform multiple inversion also. So let us check that how it is going to improve that. So this is your density model, whatever the data information you are plotting over here. So this is the, suppose, your density model, right? So one density distribution, what I was saying, that this is a 10 ohm meter, this is a 500 ohm meter, and then background resistivity you can get. Here you can typically get this model. Now, if you perform individual inversion of this DC data, you will get this model, right? Only figure B you will get. If you perform single inversion of your gravity data, you will get this particular model. If you perform joint inversion using this formulation, using this particular formulation, same objective function, if you minimize, then you are getting this particular result. Try to see the which one is closer to your true model. This is your closer, because here geology is not much differentiation. Further refinement, if you do in your joint inversion framework, then you will again get little much better model of that. Here, single inversion, you can say that even it is not able to demarcate how much the depth of this particular geologic unit. However, in true model, it is ending here. In machine learning, it is also here. So how this joint inversion, when we use machine learning, it is trying to say. But one of the important aspect, that how it is going to improve our result in a cross plot. So as I told you that this relation they have made into the cross plot. So let us try to analyze the cross plot result over here. This is the cross plot. So red dot you are seeing in the x-axis, we have resistivity distribution. We have here a density distribution, and these typically 3 value you are getting. So red is very close true model, and the black color line, black color star, whatever you are seeing here, black color over here, black color somewhere here is scattered, black color is the single inversion result. Now if you see the green color is the machine learning one, you can see over here is it is trying to scattered around here, and somewhat here it is, and somewhat here. So it is trying to improve the result, and improve result you can visualize over this model. So this is the beauty of machine learning to improve the joint inversion formulation. But this is just a simple test study how it is going to improve field data set. Let us take this from one of the typical study. So this is the study area around. This is the South Purulia shear zone. This is the area near Purulia district of West Bengal. In India, you can see location over here, and this is the study region, and this is the Singhbur shear zone. Why this South Purulia shear zone is important? Because this is famous for mineralization. So there are lots of mineral over here, and we were trying to look uranium mineralization over here. So what we did, we tried to collected data, gravity data, and DC resistivity data along the same study region. More detailed geology of this this distribution, this location you can see over here. This is the typical ERT profile is that. This is the ERT profile. And at the same profile, we have a gravity profile also. And this is the typical geologic unit of this distribution. This is the Beldy open cast mine. And blue color is your ultramafic carbonatite rock, which you can see over this. And then quartzite, you can say that. So these two, blue color and uh, pink color geologic unit, is basically your host rock. And this green color, whatever you are seeing over, this is the target rock of mineralization. Green color is basically a quartzite over here. So these are the some of the classification of geologic unit, because machine learning will utilize this information over here. And what is the important thing here is that just to check our validation purposes, we have two borehole information available along this profile. So BH1 and BH2 is located, how orientation you can see. So all the results will try to show over here. So this is the result of individual resistivity model, right? This is the individual resistivity distribution. This is the individual gravity distribution of that one. And if you see that, if you see these two figure only, so you can say that there is a no correlation between a gravity and density. There is a no relation of, simply there is a no relation of that one. Because if you see here, there is this kind of a distribution over here, this kind of an over distribution over here, there is a no clear cut distribution over here. So now what we did, we try to make particular relation in the cross plot between these two. Now here, whatever the red dot you are seeing is the resistivity plot. Here we have a density plot, and you can say that red color is the cross plot scattered all over the single inversion result. So this is this model, whatever red dot you are seeing, this distribution you are seeing over here. Now what we did, now we try to use machine learning in joint inversion framework. Objective function, what we have minimized, you can already seen into our objective function just previously, which I have shown. And then joint inversion result, if you try to see that this body is going from here to here, here to here, and similar way it is this density pattern, which is lower density rock, it is going over here to here. This geologic unit is here, there is another geologic unit over here, and there is a very good clear cut relation between these two models. There is all the pattern they are trying to fit the data, fit these two models. Now if you see the analyze the cross plot, we assume that there are 4 major geologic unit over the study region, because ultramafic carbonatite 2, these 3 dark, and one is we have taken this kaolinite and all these things together. So in all over the 4 study region, we have taken only 4 geologic unit, which are majorly playing the role over here. So 4 part we have divided. Now one important thing you should note down that we try to make the relation using machine learning. Here you can say that same for Siemens learning. So it is trying to plot cross plot. Then there is a one geologic unit which is following this relation. There is a second geologic unit which is following this relation. There is a third unit which is following this relation. There is a fourth which is following this relation. So you can make any kind of a relation depending upon a geologic scenario, and this relation we are trying to make using the machine learning tool to improve the result. Now let us check the in this model, joint resistive joint inverted model or individual model, how our data fitting is look like. So this is the individual data set. This is the individual inversion observed DC resistivity data. This is the individual inversion resistivity of computed one. You can see RMS value is 1.65. Here you have a dotted one. You can see over here is that observed gravity variation over the same region, and the model variation is going with the red color, and jointly model is plotted along this side. There is very much RMS error. If you see, it is trying to fit over 1.65. Here RMS error is 1.75. Slightly increasing in joint inversion formulation. However, in gravity fitting, here you note it. If you see very carefully this zone, there is a very less fitting in gravity data. But however, in gravity data over when we perform joint inversion with the integration of a machine learning tool, then fitting is almost fine, and we got little less result. However, both the relation are correlatable, and we got this beautiful correlation between resistivity and density. So what machine learning can do, that machine learning can make relation between two data set over there. So these are the some of the important aspect you should note that. Now, as I have mentioned over here, is that machine learning will also provide you the geologic separation result, right? So apart from this, this is the density model, this is the resistivity model, this is the individual density resistivity. Now, which model you will trust on that? So these two closely together will produce one geologic model. This geologic model we have obtained directly from the inversion. So this is jointly we are getting fitting the data, and we are getting this model. And this model, as I have mentioned, that we have a borehole information over here. Many thanks to AMD, which provided these results, because they have did the borehole survey over here. So you can see the borehole orientation is going along these two things, and here a borehole is going along this. So this blue color is matching with our blue color. This kaolinite is working over here, and this extension, whatever you are seeing over here, is that at that particular location that might be associated with uranium mineralization, but we are not confirmed yet. We are still need some more investigation of that. However, if you see that this is the result of integration of multiphysics in the sense that we have a DC resistivity, we have a gravity, and we have a relation we made using fuzzy C-means clustering, and this is the borehole information result. Both are correlating very well. So as a concluding thing, we can say that you can perform joint inversion of a multiple data set using machine learning tool, and petrophysical relationship you can utilize machine learning tool. Here we have used fuzzy C-means clustering to obtain a similarity between a density and resistivity model. Field example is showing that a jointly inverted model is producing much better results than the individual inverted model. And we utilize the number of cluster center must be known, because if you check on wrong information about the clustering, then it might lead so this is the framework for two data set inversion. What will be the framework for 3 or 4? So still we have not done anything yet, but however you can have a similar way you can formulate your 3 or 4 data set together. You can invert using this multiple data set. For example, this formulation can work for DC, RMT, VLF, which will provide you the resistivity distribution. Again, you can have a second objective function which will have a gravity distribution, and third, again, you have a magnetic data set you can connect over same profile, and it will provide you. And to make the relation between M1, M2, M3, either you measure a laboratory measurement of rock sample, and then try to make the relation while utilizing the same fuzzy C-means clustering. This will give you the very good relation, and then your result will show too much good information over that. So these are the some of the new things which as a worldwide people are trying to utilize. We here in our group is also trying to utilize this machine learning based algorithm to integrate uh, uh, tool. Now, one of the important thing, this coupling relation, I am trying to utilize a machine learning. What you can perform here you can make relation using neural networks. You can make relation using deep learning algorithm. So there are many powerful algorithm which is blindly work and try to improve the results. So you have to only take those algorithms, slightly modified those algorithms, and try to improve those results. So with this, I'm going to finish my talk, and uh, uh, you have heard me very patiently. I'm very thankful for that, and I'm also thankful to SCG BHU chapter team. They have uh, invited me to deliver this particular talk. So very thankful to them also. So thank you. Let me know if you have any particular doubt.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so Q&A session is started. Please ask your questions in the chat box. So I have a question here.
Yeah, go ahead,
Uh,
Kiru.
yes, sir. So someone has asked, what is parameter domain?
Oh, parameter domain means that suppose let me go to that particular slide. Suppose we have here uh, whatever we are using into that value. Suppose here well log distribution along this profile, suppose we have a b1 and b2 well log distribution like that. So this is the spatial distribution, right? At that particular location, at this depth we have this value, at this depth we have this value. And however we are not utilizing this information. What we are utilizing that okay, uh, how many geologic unit have a certain range of particular value. We do not know the where it is this value is there, but there is a geologic location who is falling in this particular geologic resistivity value. So spatial distribution we are not going to utilize in machine learning. What we are utilizing that only the information. For example, this rock unit has a 100 ohm meter resistivity as 5 meter depth. But in parameter domain, we only require information that, okay, there is a geologic unit. We do not know the location of this geologic unit. But there is a geologic unit who has this 100 ohm meter rock unit. So spatial distribution, we do not know. We only know that this is in somewhere in a parameter, only parametric value 100 ohm meter resistivity information we know. So that's why we are naming it as a parameter domain. There are spatial domain called spatial domain, like this image. You can say there is a distribution in spatial domain. Here we are calling that we do not know the where the location of this 100 ohm meter resistivity. Only we are saying that there is a 100 ohm meter resistivity. That's why we are naming it parameter domain. Hope I'm clear.
Okay, sir. I think the answer is. Uh, and sir, someone has asked for Singh et al. This paper you have mentioned. So
This
where
thing
we
that
can. Yes, sir.
okay, so I have this paper. This is actually this paper is mine. I published in geophysics. So those who require, I'll just email to
Yes, sir.
SCG's
Our SEG
BHU student chapter, and they
Yes.
can circulate whoever request, or you can personally email to me if you wanted to check my email somewhere it must be. So you please email to me here anand.singh@iitb.ac.in. I'll provide that to, or I'll provide to the SCG student chapter. They can share with you. So I'll certainly provide to that. I'm
Okay,
very
sir.
happy.
We will forward it to them. Uh, and sir, someone has asked to explain the slide number 16. Uh,
Slide
I,
number
yes.
16. Let me go to Okay, so here what I did, that this is a typical empty model. Okay, empty model, I have taken a synthetic data set, as you can see that. So in that synthetic model, what we have information is that we have one geologic unit, we have a higher resistivity. 3 means, in this scale you can see 3 means 10 to the power 3 means 1000 ohm meter. So this geologic unit has 1000 ohm meter resistivity, and this geologic unit we have slightly above than that. So this has 10 ohm meter resistivity, and whatever green color you are saying distribution, this has over this one. So this has 100 ohm meter resistivity, and then this fault like structure which you are seeing is 5 ohm meter resistivity value we have kept. Now we have taken this model, we computed the synthetic response of that, so we got certain data set. Now we perform traditional inversion. So traditional inversion result was plotted here, and as you can see that 1000 ohm meter resistivity we obtained very clearly, and 5 ohm meter resistivity we have also obtained very clearly. Even if you see that major portion of this 100 ohm meter background resistivity was also obtained. However, if you see this fault like structure, 5 ohm meter resistivity is not very clear. uh, it is 5 ohm meter, and 10 ohm meter is slightly uh, mismatch over there. Somewhere you can see 5 ohm meter, somewhere you will see 10 ohm meter. For example, here you can see 10 ohm meter, here you can see 10 ohm meter, here you can see 10 ohm meter. Even we utilize fuzzy machine learning algorithm. Here again we got this kind of a mismatch information. So our conclusion was that uh, machine learning will only be effective whenever will be more effective when your inversion will be powerful to identify those particular features. So this is what we are trying to infer from that. Machine learning will helpful to that when we have this kind of a distribution. Since here at this kind of a greater depth, machine learning is even inversion is not able to demarcate 5 ohm meter and 10 ohm meter, because these two are very close interval value. So obviously MT will not able to differentiate these two geologic unit at this greater depth. So that's why we are getting this particular result. So that's why we concluded that this machine learning will only be effective when a major data set is sensitive to particular geologic unit. So you can take this particular.
Okay, sir. Uh, and sir, the last question that we will take is why did you choose fuzzy C algorithm, sir? Yes.
We have not chosen fuzzy C. We investigated many uh, uh, clustering algorithm based on this. So we utilize a k-means clustering, we utilize fuzzy c-means clustering, we utilize Gaussian distribution type of clustering distribution. So we find that fuzzy c-means was giving a relatively better result of that. So that's why we used to that. So there is a no foundation of that. We can use k-means also over here, but only drawback of k means that fuzzy beauty of fuzzy is that uh, uh, it will try to differentiate your geologic unit with the confidence interval. For example, if you wanted to demarcate between these two geologic units, so fuzzy C, what it will do, fuzzy C will say that okay, 90% this particular block 90% belongs to geologic unit 3. However, 10% it is belong to geologic unit 4. However, if you perform k-means clustering, it will only say that it is 100% belonging to geologic unit 4. So this kind of a confidence is not good for k-means clustering. So that's why we use fuzzy c-means clustering, because there should be some of the confidence uh, value, whether we are 90% sure that it is belonging to that particular geologic unit, whether it is a 60% belonging to it. So if you use k-means clustering, you will this information will be missing into that. So that's why we used fuzzy c-means. But there are plenty of algorithms. You can play with that. Nowadays, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to utilize support vector mechanics. That is a very wonderful uh, machine learning algorithm which I came across that. So I'm trying to use that one. So this is the time approach that you will play with the algorithms, and those who will get better results will use in our inversion frame.
Okay. Okay, sir. I think it's clear now. Uh, okay, sir. We are very grateful to you for delivering such an informative lecture. And
Okay.
yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm also thankful to inviting that one, because I also felt that somehow research student or the young graduate students should aware of that what is happening. Uh, New algorithm worldwide is going to. This is important to understand these things. So there are many that many of you are uh, trying to see that where we should do utilize those skills which you are doing. So this is also useful for them. So I do understand that for the research student or for MSc student, these kind of information. So I'm very also thankful that uh, PHU SCG student chapter has invited for that.
Yes, sir. And sir, I had to ask, can we upload this like recording to the YouTube channel? Our
Yeah. You can do that. You can do that.
okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Okay. So with that, I'm closing this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure,
Thank you.
sir.